from Wayne's hand with Do or Do Not and Wise Advice both on the table. Wayne's just deciding that he doesn't want to bother with a sense, since it's going to come at a pretty steep cost.
Guys,
Yoda comes from reserve deck and flies over to join Leia, and now we're in Gavin's draw phase.
I've gotten a couple requests to switch over, at least for a moment, to the JJD Decide game, because this one, based on the way it's going, there will be a few turns before there's probably anything. It looks like Gavin has probably got it short up, but so Scott, if you're able to direct us over there, that would be great.
Yeah. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Can oh wait, you have it up on the stream? I'm watching the. Gotcha. I didn't switch out.
I see it on the stream now. So life forces seem to be pretty comparable. It is currently Justin's turn, and he is battling here at the SR2 site with the Grand Inquisitor and whatever number character that is, the fifth brother, I think, against Ahsoka and Hera.
All right, I'm in.
All right, Hayes has confirmed they can hear us, so that's great. Thank you, Hayes. JJD is going to play a defensive shield with Hear Me Baby, he pulls Do or Do Not. So just looking at the board state here, JJD has Luke and Rey at the Malachor site, but there's an image of the Dark Lord there. Justin has the Seventh Sister, Kir Kanos, and Vader Enforcer at the third marker with security precautions and prophecy there. And I think we're caught up.
Yeah, and one thing I just noticed in this battle is that it looks like Hera's text was canceled. So I don't know what the timing was of Justin's actions for this turn. It looks like maybe he went down with one character, stacked a hate card, and maybe JJD thought there wasn't, there wasn't backup coming and let Hera's text get canceled. Then, we're in a battle now where Justin's added a Destiny. He's drawing 2 and Jared's just drawing 1. So Justin draws a total of 10, which is going to clear Jared's side. Jared draws a 3, so he's going to get rid of 1 Inquisitor. And there was a retrieval from Imperial Enforcement because Justin won that battle pretty big.
Yeah, this is seeming to look like it's in Justin's favor. So just an accurate life force count. Justin has 17 in life force with 6th in hand. And JJD has 14 in life force with 7 in hand. Given this current board position, you have to expect this to favor Justin, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, we did see Jared retrieved a copy of Anakin Skywalker into hand, so he can relocate that either to add to his drain when he drains or to pull it away from Justin's before Justin drains. I don't know what the timing is going to be on when he decides to play that. Depends on what he has lined up for his next turn. But yeah, certainly with the way that turn went for Justin, now he's sitting on 2 locations. He's got 1 pretty decent drain. He's asking what Desai has grabbed. It's Anakin Skywalker on something special planned for them, and his Allegations grabber is open.
And JJD has grabbed Force Field.
Yeah, I would agree that Justin's in the driver's seat right now. Any response that's coming from Jared on this turn is going to leave Imperial Enforcement in play. So there's potential for Justin to retrieve on a battle that Jared initiates or get a guy into hand from
which is like
from drawing a Destiny.
Sorry.
That's all.
That's a pretty stark difference from the game we just came from, right? It's like the fact that enforcement is online here is huge for Justin.
Yep.
Huge, even.
And it looks like there's one card stacked on I Feel the Conflict, and it's a face-up copy of Eighth Brother. So it seems like of all the battles that have taken place, Justin has won all of them, and the only card that's stacked on I Feel the Conflict is something he stacked face-up to cancel a retrieval.
And I believe both of these guys are in for next weekend. So this is just jockeying for position, if I'm correct.
Yeah, so maybe let's go back.
I was going to say, this game's compelling. I think we could probably try to just jump back and forth a little bit between them.
Yeah, we've got a little more action. It's looking like it's tilted pretty heavily towards Gavin in that game, though.
Let's go do a live look in, and we'll pretend we're the red zone. Because I have Justin and Jarrett's game open here. If something happens, I'll update you.
Okay. Yeah, so Gavin's now on 2 sites. He still has I thought he already used the relocate. Okay. Yeah, so Gavin's turn, he is ending his turn with Cornhorn at the defensive perimeter, Yoda at the Malachor Sith Temple entrance, and Leia at the Death Star 2 Chasm Walkway with Prophecy stacked there. Going into Wayne's turn, he's got 8 cards in Life Force, 4 cards in hand. He's got Emperor and a 7th Sister with a Dark Jedi lightsaber at the Malachor Sith Temple. So he's got a drain of 3 there. 2? 2, because the saber won't add.
With Wayne, we don't. We don't know. We missed if he did. I will say nothing has changed substantially in the other game.
Well, he didn't have an opportunity to pick up Vader because Vader got smoked by Gift of the Mentor. Yeah, so Life Force counts. Wayne's on 8 in Life Force 4 hand. Gavin's on 14 Life Force 5 hand.
For in the other game, EPP Obi has just come down at the Chasm Walkway against the Grand Inquisitor, along with Leia Rebel Princess.
Yeah, I think we can give this a minute to see what Wayne does, but I'm going to say that this is Gavin's game.
Yeah, this unless Wayne does something substantial here.
I mean, no matter what he does, Gavin's at 3 sites. Wayne can only be at 2 with the force he's got, the resources that he's working with. So enforcement's not going to be turned on. There's no retrieval coming. It's possible that Gavin's got something like a barrier to back up any of these characters because he is spread pretty thin here. And battle order's on the table, so it is going to cost Wayne 3 if he wants to push a drain through.
JJD hit the Grand Inquisitor. Justin played Lana combo to save his forfeit, and then JJD played Sorry About the Mess combo to make him lost. So now JJD has 2 sites to Justin's 1.
All right, so 8th Brother comes down. Wayne sends 8th Brother to face off Kran at the defensive perimeter.
Corrin?
He's immune to less than 3.
Corrin's immune to less than 3. I don't know that any of the brothers and sisters have immunity, do they?
7th Sister is immune to less than 4 and subtracts 1 against a couple of different triggers.
See, like I said, the 7th Sister has immunity.
So 8th Brother was barriered. Barrier got grabbed. And Wayne is going to no escape for I've been searching for you for some time, which is in this case he's going to be using it for the retrieval aspect. We're going to see him most likely. Yep. Okay, so now he's stacking a hate card. Copy of Emperor's Shuttle from Lost Pile gets stacked on Corn Horn. And it looks like Gavin's not going to lose one. He's just going to let Corn's text get canceled. His text isn't really doing much in this situation, and with the +2 bonus to total battle destiny, his immunity is pretty much non-existent.
Irrelevant.
Yeah. Doesn't battle and moves Seventh Sister over in front of Yoda, leaving Emperor at the temple upper chamber. And draws a card and recirculates. Yeah, so Emperor's holding down a drain +2.
Or a drain of 2.
Sorry, a drain of 2. Yeah, Prophecy didn't move because Wayne would have had to pay to drain. So Prophecy is still in front of Leia. He's got a drain of 3 there if he wants to take it this turn. Wayne's down to 10 total life force after taking a Visage Ping.
We have a hello from Shanghai, guys. Hello to you, Talon John. Thanks for joining.
What's going on?
Star Wars CCG being streamed all over the world. So now Gavin is paying to drain. It's a drain of 3 thanks to the Prophecy. And notably, Wayne is shield busted, so there's no ability to pull resistance.
Yep. Yeah, and he's still got plenty of force behind. He's got 9 force behind and 4 in hand. So I assume we're going to see another character back up Corn Horn and then a battle.
Wayne loses 2 force. He loses I've been searching for you for some time, as well as far more frightening than death.
And so we actually see Draw Their Fire come down from Gavin. So even without another character, he's going to battle. All right, so first he's going to battle at the Malachor site with Yoda against Seventh Sister.
The Draw Their Fire on itself is a good game.
Yeah, let's switch back to the other one. This is going to be Gavin's game. He's going to hit 2 more pings against Wayne here. Wayne's not going to have anything he can do.
Let's go back to the Justin game. That's what the fans are clamoring for. All right, so you're gonna get to see the Scott's Gimp catching up, I guess. So for anybody new to the stream, what we're watching here is the final round of the second heat of 4 heats for the 25th World Championship for Star Wars. So because of the interesting nature of this year, everything is moved to online. And there's 4 heats, 2 are today and 2 are tomorrow. Everyone who goes 4 and 2 or better will qualify to play next Saturday. So yes, everything we're showing today is from the World's Tournament, and both of these players are into next weekend, so they're just jockeying for the best position they can get.
Well, that game's over. So I'm going to say let's jump into Matt Scott against Sam Tashima, Yoshi, because that game Matt is 3 and 2. So if he wins, he'll be in. Unless they've jumped over to it. Yeah, so this is a little bit of a refreshing take on Star Wars from what we've been watching in the previous games. Here we've got players on multiple battleground locations all at the same time. So Yoshi is dark side with ISB. He's flipped. He's got a space presence with 2 Star Destroyers and a stacked Stalker at Mustafar. He's got the Endor Forest clearing locked up with EPP Mara and a Stormtrooper patrol. Vader is at the Mustafar Vader's castle. And then there's another stack of guys at the Scarif Beach. Moff Gideon, Tarkin, Callus, Vandalay, and a Stormtrooper patrol. They're at the beach where there is a projection of a Skywalker. Then for Matt Scott, who's on No Idea, he's got Luke in the Rogue One at Scarif, which the Stalker just moved in front of. He's got a big stack of ships at Mustafar, which Vengeance just moved away from. Bright Hope with some pilots, Han Chewie and the Falcon Virtual, and Tantive with a pilot. And then he's got a stack of guys at the Scarif Data Vault with Stardust there. A lot going on here.
And what were the life totals, Greg?
So Yoshi is he's in his draw phase now. Well, Matt is on 13 in life force, 7 in hand. Yoshi's got a little bit more, still in his draw phase here. He's going to draw a couple, and then he'll retrieve an ISB agent. He didn't. He did not. Yeah, Yoshi's on 18 life force, 10 in hand. He did not retrieve. Oh, he did. Sorry, that was earlier in his draw phase. He retrieved a Stormtrooper patrol. He's got strategic reserves out. So he's going to be mitigating almost all of the damage that Matt's doing. So Matt's turn, he gets the Stardust Ping for 1. Sam loses a Death Star 2 docking bay from hand. He's got a drain of 1 at Mustafar. Sam loses Min Kainu off the top of his deck. That's got a retrieval from Luke piloting the Rogue One. Everything's active for Matt. He spent 1 to retrieve with Luke, so he's got 12 force left this turn. I imagine 2 or 3 of that is going to be saved for moving everybody, his whole space fleet back over to Scarif in front of the Star Destroyers to back up Luke. And so among Matt's stack of guys at the Scarif Data Vault, he's got General Kraken, Hydrocephala, Endor Commando Team, and Commander Ruscott Melshi. There's no Saw there, so his drain is getting reduced to 0. He has the Stardust, which is getting one of his pings through.
Yeah, the board state as it is, I have to think favors Matt.
You think this favors Matt or favors Yoshi? Yoshi's on ISB.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Yes, it favors Yoshi. It's funny because I think that Yoshi is playing No Idea for Lightside also. So I just had it flipped around in my mind.
Yep. No, I think you're right there. But yeah, Darkside is definitely in the advantage position right now. Matt's making a push to fight over the Endor Forest clearing, which is a drain of 3, ignoring the fact that Ultimatum's out.
But he's not intending to battle this turn. This is just I'm putting these guys here and we'll see what happens. Obviously adding destinies and canceling.
Yeah, so Leia, who's actually not doing anything yet because there's no Imperial leader there. But Leia's there. Captain Cassian Andor is there. Cassian is going to cancel a destiny like Mike just mentioned. And now we see the Space Fleet. Everybody ends up going back to Scarif in front of the 2 Star Destroyers. He can't move Luke away. If he does move Luke away to Mustafar, I don't know if there's any reason why he'd want to, but if he did try to pull that, Stalker would follow it, and there'd be no other backup left at Mustafar system. So everybody's stacked at Scarif right now. I think we've got 2 damage coming through, drain of 2 coming through from Sam this turn because he's got a stack of ISB agents at the beach. So it would be a drain of 3, but projections there making it a drain of 2. There's a bunch of stuff at Coruscant. What's there? Another projection and a security precautions. So no, Vader's not going to go there. Yeah, Vader's probably going to go over to the forest clearing. It is going to put a leader there to trigger Leia, but at least Vader will be over there with the ability to cancel either Leia's text or Cassian's text. And just to give Sam a little additional backup there. If Sam does decide he wants to send everybody into the data vault, Matt won't be able to move his force there away. Well, he can't move the spy who's holding Stardust away from there.
Watching a few of the other games, it looks like Charlie did beat Edward. And so Charlie is moving on to play next weekend. And then looking at the Worf's game against Joe Olson, Worf's currently has Vader at the Endor Hitco site with his saber. Joe has control of the rest of the board. So very likely Joe is going to pull this one out based on the current board state. Worf's has 2 cards in hand, and very likely he can't retaliate.
So we saw Sam drop down Allegiant General Pride to the Endor site and Lord Maul with lightsaber to the Endor site. So now he's got 2 weapons, a big stack of 18 power there in front of the 2 spies from Matt. Matt does play Antilles Maneuver V to force Sam to spend a force before firing either of his weapons, but he's still got 4 force behind. So if he wants to go through with a battle here, he'll have plenty of force and destinies available to get through this whole battle.
In round numbers, you're probably not wrong, John. About 60 combined characters between the decks seems fair.
Yeah, that's probably pretty close.
You're definitely you're north of like 54.
Sam does battle.
All right, so Worf just conceded, so Joe wins that game. As we're starting to wrap up Heat 2 of day 1.
Sam plays a commands to add a destiny with Allegiant General Pride in this battle, and that gets grabbed by Matt on allegations of corruption. And then Matt will take a card off evac control, takes Commander Vanden Willard virtual to limit both players to 1 draw that can't be canceled. So battle destiny. I guess Sam didn't want to fire his weapons at the cost of spending a force. So he just goes right to battle destiny. They each draw a 4. I'll put Sam at 22 power to Matt's 11. Sam can lose General Pride to cover the attrition, and Matt's facing 11 battle damage. So Cassian goes for 7. When he's lost, he lets Matt activate a force, and then Leia covers the rest. Now Sam's left with Lord Maul with lightsaber, Mara Jade with lightsaber, and a Stormtrooper patrol there. So he's got a big drain of 3. Currently, Ultimatum is turned off because Matt's been reduced to 2 battlegrounds. And yep, so he's moving his Star Destroyers back over to Mustafar because he's got that stack of ISB agents at the Scarif Beach. The drain for Matt at Scarif system is -1, so it's reduced to 0. The flip side of the no idea objective says, while Stardust on your spy opponent may not cancel your force drains at battlegrounds, but it doesn't protect them from being modified by a deck like ISB. No, not looking great.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I mean, I think in real life, Matt, I have played against Matt in similar situations. I wouldn't be shocked for him to pull the GG here, but we'll see. Have you guys been watching? I'm only about halfway through this, but have you watched the Queen's Gambit? Okay, I'm one behind you, but I think it's in the first episode where the guy teaches her chess, and he's like, "This is where you concede." I see that so often now, and when I'm playing Star Wars, it's like, okay, I don't have to play this out; it's over. Or vice versa, when I'm like, I would just wish they would quit.
Well, to be fair, Matt is playing for his tournament life here, so yeah,
And Goonies never say
he's
die. I get it, but
he's gonna give it all he's got. Yep. So we see Saul Guerrero goes down to the beach, who has some pretty good text against ISB, and seems like the next logical play is going to be to slide everybody else over. Saul is going to add 1 to attrition for each character opponent has there. Also says that opponent can't reduce your force drains here, so if Sam does move his stack away, it'll be a full drain for Matt. And Saul also says that Trooper Assault is canceled at his location. Yeah, so there's one card left to pull off of evac control, like Scott mentioned. So once Matt takes that off, his ability to limit additional Battle Destiny draws or Tarkin from canceling Battle Destiny draws, once he pulls that last card off of evac control, he's going to lose that tool. Right, and so there's Commander Vanden Willard, who we saw Matt take off of evac control last turn. He goes to the beach as well. They would get a Destiny, and it would be +5 attrition to dark side, but we've got 6 power squared up against 16, so I don't think we're going to see a battle. Oh, Kraken. Yeah, Kraken is, while all your ability is provided by scouts and spies, Kraken is a scout. I think everybody else on oh no, Torrin Farr is here. Torrin Farr just shuttled down from Bright Hope, so she's neither a scout nor a spy. She can put cards on evac. So that's a pretty good loop. That will extend the life of evac's ability to keep both players drawing 1 Destiny in every battle, and is also a quasi retrieval for Matt. So that's a pretty strong move. He's giving up on the chase. He's letting Sam stay at Mustafar with his 2 Star Destroyers, which is just a drain of 1. And he's kept all 4 of his own ships at Scarif. Luke's still up there, giving him a retrieval. It's still pretty scary with Han Chewie Falcon adding a Power Destiny. Oh, I take that back. So Tantive just moved over to Mustafar. Well, he was on 3. Right. So yeah, so Luke did stay behind at Scarif. The other 3 beefy ships, Tantive and Bright Hope and Han Chewie Falcon, who are all doing fun things that get around evac control, those are all at Mustafar. And a couple of the spies moved over to the beach as well. So who's there? Endor Commando Team, Hydrocephala, Torrin Farr, Saw, and Commander Vanden Willard are at the beach squaring off against Sam Stack. It's a drain of 3 at Endor. Another copy of evac control and Chirrut Imwe go off the top for Matt.
for those that were asking, Joe Olson wins 6-0. Justin 5-1, Worfs 4-2, JJD 4-2, Justin Miyashiro 4-2, Connor Britton 4-2, Charlie Arlinson 4-2, Gavin 4-2, Brad Kipple 4-2. And then if Matt is to win this game, he will go to 4-2.
So Aaron in chat saying that 2 bugs were found in Heat 1. There's that Anakin one, which was posted. You can relocate Anakin with prophecy even when it shouldn't be able to relocate because there's a Skywalker at Ewok Village. So players are advised to not attempt to do that during a GIMP game until the bug is fixed.
So people are encouraged not to play Hitco until the bug is fixed. Is that whatever?
Yeah. What's that? Something with Johto cased, and I guess his text
Maybe
is
his
not.
canceling a Destiny wasn't treated as a May. It's a May
Yeah.
ability, and it must be programmed as a must.
Yeah. So he's canceling draws. Dark side players being forced to cancel a draw when he should be a May.
Unless it's maybe targeted by hidden weapons and it like forces you to. I don't know why that would matter, but
yeah, who knows? All right, so Sam got his drain in. He deployed Wolf Fuel into the Gavin War Room to pick up a drain of 2 there. He deployed 5d6 to the beach just to get a little more power there. Some power and some forfeit. And then Vader joined the stack of guys from Vader's castle with the relocation text. So on Sam's side, we've got Darth Vader Enforcer. We've got Tarkin, Stormtrooper Patrol, Agent Callus, Corporal Vandalay, Moff Gideon, and 5d6. And the Star Destroyers move back in front of Rogue One with Luke at Scarif. And in the draw phase, Sam's going to retrieve Agent Callus.
I'm laughing at how we're somehow incorrectly pronunciating Johto cast.
I think I did say cased, so maybe that's on me. Maybe that's wrong.
But isn't like the way that's spelled is like caste system from India, which is also pronounced caste, I think.
If you I think I said that one wrong too.
Yeah, I guess it probably is Yanis. Is it Yanis Griatis? I've always said Janus Griatis, which is probably why I'm from Atlanta. Okay, at least I'm noticing from the chat that I pronounced everything right, and so whatever they're being critical of, we're good.
As long as nobody plays a Guy K, we'll be able to get through the rest of this without issue.
That's fair. I think we'll be okay. So we see Ray come down in front of the wolf. You have to expect, obviously, he has either a patrol in hand or he's just ready with a Gick, or he may not even need to Gick since he covers for 8 or 7, excuse me.
Yep. Guy K in hand, just in case.
I'm playing in the 1 p.m. pod tomorrow, and Greg is in the morning pod tomorrow. Greg, apparently you need to go to like Star Wars pronunciation school, or else you're not allowed to commentate anymore.
Yeah, apparently I just say everything wrong.
Say, do. Where do we stop?
All right, so the reacting Stormtrooper Patrol was canceled by Odin Neslor. Hopefully I said that one right. And a 5 for Matt for Battle Destiny. We got power 10. Yeah, so it's going to be 2 overflow. At least I can spell, Justin. All right, so Sam does have the Gick. He doesn't take the 2 battle damage.
The chat is derailed into reasonably mocking. It'll be interesting to see. Go ahead, Scott. Did we establish that the people on chat can hear Scott?
What? I can't hear you. I mean, I can hear you, but you're very quiet.
I expect we will see battles from Yoshi at the beach, but he may be content to just keep draining at his other site since he's ahead. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know that he needs to, but he's up. I mean, he's up big in power, and he can't. Yeah, well, he's canceling Willard's text. That makes me think he's not battling. If he was going to battle, he would most likely be canceling Saul's text to not eat big extra attrition.
Yeah, you would be like, it's worth not taking 7 attrition.
Or Torrens text, so he doesn't. So Matt doesn't have the ability to loop a guy after the battle. But canceling Vanden Willard just means he doesn't want him to cycle a card. I'm not even going to touch that one in chat.
So we go Ezra off the top. And Matt's debating what else to lose, it seems.
I see you just skipped right over the pronunciation of Mr. Webb. Not taking any chances.
Jerome? He's true owner on a first name basis. Again, I just don't see how Matt will come ahead here, but we'll see how this plays
no,
out.
the drain of 2 that's going to hit him every turn. I mean, he does have Luke retrieving, and Corrin at the castle is going to force Sam to answer that somehow, but it probably just means flying Vader back over.
Yeah, I don't know. The more I just said that I felt pretty certain about this. And I'm like, I do think there's some things that Matt can do. The Corrin drain is not irrelevant. The thing is that his space now, having shuttled those guys down, is like definitely not as strong. So Matt actually might be in a position to be able to start moving in space to mitigate that damage, continue to get damage through, retrieving with Luke. In which case, they're kind of at a stalemate other than Corrin Horn.
Well, yeah, I think it looks like that drain's just going to get canceled by Strategic, and Matt's only got the 1 damage coming through from Stardust, and Sam's retrieving 1 a turn with ISB.
But how many Strategics does he ostensibly have left? There's 2 patrols on table, so he probably has 3 to 4 access to 3 to 4 total non-uniques more.
Right.
So we know that he should have 1. There was 1 apparently canceled from a react.
And so now Vader cancels Saw's text, anticipating a battle?
That says we're fighting.
Well, this is on Matt's turn, so...
Oh, fair. That says... So don't you think that's interesting? Wouldn't you maybe just wait until he actually initiates the battle to do that?
Yeah. I don't think there's any advantage. Well, okay, I guess you do need to play around maybe the potential of Padme coming down, but you still get to see his control phase before that happens. Yeah, so in the control phase, the only damage that goes through the drain at the castle gets canceled by a copy of Stormtrooper Patrol on Strategic Reserves. The 1 damage ping from Stardust is a copy of Tarkin from Sam's hand. Matt retrieves Ezra with Luke. Chirrut goes over to the Coruscant 2-1 site.
As some of this perfunctory play is happening, Greg, what would, just based on the bit that you've seen today, like, did anything surprise you? How would you react to the meta overall?
I didn't see the final count from Heat 2, but I was expecting a lot more Watch Your Step today, and there was hardly any from the early morning Heat that fired off. I don't know if somebody has the numbers available for Heat 2. But that was one thing that surprised me. There was some of the deck choices are not what I was expecting. There were some interesting creative calls with, like, I think there was an invasion deck, or at least one invasion deck, maybe more. There were a couple EBO decks it looked like, which I'm not sure how that plays out with Hunt Down V representing a significant portion of the meta. And then there were some other creative calls like Map, which we kind of discussed that earlier. Map was, I think, completely off of our radar as being a viable option, but we saw Connor pilot it to a pretty compelling game against Justin's Legend.
And he was the sole Map player, at least in his pod. To answer your question, I think I'm looking at the deck types here. We had 11 Hitcos, actually 3 no ideas in this pod, which I think were represented here by Matt and Yoshi and then someone else. And then 1 or 2 Watch Your Steps. So I think in the 2 first pods, that means we got a total of 3 Watch Your Steps.
Yeah, which that seems crazy to me.
Much less Legend also than I would have expected. I was shocked by it was like 2/3 in round numbers Hitco.
Yeah, I think those 3 decks being at the top, Hitco, Watch Your Step, and Legend, I think us as a team and me personally, I expected those to be the top decks, but I expected them to be represented a little more equally. And to see that much Hitco, so much more Hitco than anything else was also a little bit of a surprise.
Agreed. And I think I've not seen a shuttle.
Corn shuttled up, I think, because oh no.
I don't know. That's interesting. Maybe he's concerned because he only has 1 card in hand and Sam has 6.
Who's on? So on the Stalker is Ozzel, Thrawn, and 5d6. Looked like maybe he was just trying to get a little extra there in case Sam decided to battle at the system.
Yeah, and then he still has the pressure coming through from having deployed Chirrut. Like, he still has the same number of drains with more forfeit fodder in space.
So Wolf is back. Wolf goes to the Hoth docking bay.
Mr. Wolf, he shows up anytime you need him. He's grown to become probably my favorite part of this deck.
Charlie, we did not do your game. Somebody else had it. It was either Queso or JNap.
I think it was Queso and Brian Mischke, who I heard shaved his, what I guess could be described as a mustache.
Oh no. That thing was so cute. Brian's first mustache.
All right, so we'll see what else Sam elects to do here.
Looks like he is gonna Lana. Lord Maul over to Chirrut. I think makes sense. The additional drain +1 wasn't doing him anything over there.
And Matt only has 1 card in hand, so like he should feel very safe with this. He should likely be able. Thank you. Should likely be able to kill Chirrut and not risk any overflow, and then just like clear the site and not have to worry about the drain.
Yeah, I mean, Matt can back it up to add some more power there, but then Maul is hitting one of the characters. Well, I guess maybe he's not. But the objective stops him from swinging at somebody, right? Yeah, it still does that.
The flip side is instead of waiting to, like, previously you got to cancel a destiny. Now I think it just cancels the targeting.
So cancel the targeting.
It's less.
And this Maul only swings once. So yeah, if Matt can back up Chirrut, he may do that in order to clear Maul while only losing one of his characters. That's if he has a guy in his 1-card hand. Thanks, Hepwee. 20 months is very impressive.
I will say I just recently learned about this Prime Twitch subscription. So anybody who's watching, if you have a Amazon Prime account, you're able to give your monthly free subscription to the PC here through this channel. And I believe they get some benefit. And if you do it for multiple months, I believe you can get benefit. So highly encourage you to do that. I wish I had more of the concrete details, but yeah, if you have a subscription to throw it here towards this channel.
Kaiser, you asked for an update on what has happened in the game so far. We actually jumped into this game fairly late, so we're not sure how everything played out to get us to this point. We are just thinking that right now it looks like Darkseid's got the advantage here. Although things are slow moving. There's just little bits of damage flowing through here and there, and both players are retrieving to mitigate it. So it's a very slow developing end game.
Yeah, in fact, a few turns ago, I posited that Matt might just want to throw in the towel, and he has made quite the storm back from the time that I made that comment. So I agree, it's anybody's game, slightly leaning towards Sam, but it's going to be interesting to see. These last few turns are likely to be kind of plotting, if I had to guess.
Yeah. I mean, storm back, but still he's pushing through 1 damage with Stardust, 1 damage at the Mustafar Drain, and he's got to come up with some way to answer this Lord Maul with lightsaber that's sitting in front of Chirrut. I mean, I guess it's not going to be bad if he cancels the swing, but it's power 7 plus 1 to Maul's draw. Chirrut forfeits for 5. So there's an opportunity for overflow potentially. Oh, yeah, with Chirrut he could activate one of Sam's cards, you're saying?
Something that our good friend Drew Coffee Pass likes to remind us of frequently is that Chirrut has game text. So hopefully Matt will remember that if it comes up, that the ability to recirculate after using your force in a turn can be fairly powerful. And we're seeing it on more cards. I will honestly say I don't think that it's a very healthy mechanic for the game. Resource management is just so important that it allows you to kind of break some fundamental rules of the game. So it's not something I personally subscribe to being on cards, especially characters that have a single use at any time. And like the Watch Your Step Interrupt has 2 other good modes. It's just, it's a little bit pushed. It's not the direction I would personally see things go, or would want to see things going, to answer your question, Scott. I think it's just generally mechanics like that lead to like abusive interactions.
So Kaiser's question in the chat is can players force drain at locations where there's no troops? I'm not sure exactly which portion of it you're asking about, but yeah, you can force drain at any location, even if it's not going to cause damage, right? Technically, Thrawn can force drain at the Vader's castle. It would just be a drain of 0. And Wolf Yularen can force drain at the Echo Docking Bay. It's going to be a drain of 1 because there's 1 light side icon there compared to no light side icons at the Vader's castle.
Right. So he has that option. I mean, there's also this is not likely to happen against No Idea, but like then he can play things that react to a force drain happening. So unless there's some beneficial reason for yourself to be draining for 0, it's not really something I think you would be advised to do.
Well said. So looking at clocks, Yoshi just went under 20 minutes, and Matt is sitting just shy of 12 minutes.
Greg, we're on the same wavelength. I was just looking at this board and I'm thinking, what is one way this game could end? It was very much a timed loss. There was a time loss situation in one of the games earlier. Hopefully, we don't come to that here. One where someone felt that they were ahead and was upset about the situation. So hopefully, this game is so grindy. It's like, who knows what will happen.
Yeah, Derek, the flip side of ISB says when you have a non-undercover ISB agent at a battleground site, your force drains are +1 there, and opponents' force drains are -1 at same and related locations. So that big stack of ISB agents at the beach, they are reducing the force drains for light side at the data vault and at the Scarif system.
No, but Jordan does have like the best interpreter in that he is very colorful and awesome, especially like when interesting like Pride or things like that. Like he gets super into it. I love that guy. He's always there regardless of who is speaking at the Capitol. The person that Worf's asked about, I am not related to. I was in support of his. I'm not going to get political, but I was in support of him saying death threats and things like that. Just stop.
Oh yeah, I remember this guy from watching the different state of COVID addresses that were happening throughout the summer.
Yeah, he's
big fan.
The interpreter has risen to like national prominence. He's awesome. Yeah, I think that the game has moved kind of in the direction that I thought it might, in that now Sam has really pulled ahead, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, he's got just a little more life force and a few more cards in hand than what Matt's working with, but things like that allow him to maneuver his starships, and shuttling characters aboard those starships however he wants. Allows him to do things like dropping Colonel Wolf at the docking bay and picking up an extra drain of 1. So he's picking up all these small little advantages to keep the game moving in his favor.
Yeah, it's just like little death by 1,000 cuts if you're Matt.
Mm-hmm. I was kind of surprised that Sam didn't play his Stormtrooper. He had a lot of leftover force. I could have maybe seen that Stormtrooper patrol backing up Lord Maul and setting up a battle for next turn.
I think he has enough force save that he's like, if he somehow battles me, I'll like just play him as a react. Otherwise, I can play him next.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. I think it's just backup for Wolf in case Matt did drop somebody else there to fight Wolf again.
Exactly. It gives him the versatility. He didn't have to commit him to a site. I mean, obviously Matt might have first aid to combo or something, but now he also sees Matt activate all his force. So he's either going to have to use the game text on Chirrut, which he may or may not remember to do. But Matt Scott doesn't forget. Matt's like a machine. He doesn't forget things like
that. Derek, there's 2 more heats tomorrow. If you're on East Coast time, they fire off at 7 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon.
And the 2 of us commentating. Greg will be in that 7 a.m. heat, and I will be in the 1 o'clock heat.
That's right.
How are you feeling about your chances tomorrow, Gregolas?
I feel okay. Trying not to think about it at all during the course of the day today. Just like seeing what people are playing, and didn't want to spend any time second guessing the decisions I made or any of that. So I felt reasonably good submitting my decks Thursday night, and I am trying not to deviate from that feeling. How about you?
Kind of in the same boat. I didn't see anything today that was like, I mean, the substantial amounts of Hunt Down B and Hitco were more than I would have anticipated, but there were no new, like, nothing that I saw on stream that was out of left field. So it's not like I'm in, and maybe that'll change tomorrow, but I'm not anticipating to run into something that I'm at least haven't played against. I think both of my decks have chances, and hopefully I play well.
Yep. That's what it comes down to.
And hopefully my opponents don't.
And Scott, you're playing tomorrow afternoon as well, right?
More so than anything, I'm more concerned about my ability to stay engaged because I get bored on GEMP quickly. So, like, the rounds 5 and 6 that are going to be really late tomorrow night, I'm worried about that.
Yeah. So how long did the first heat take? I think was that the longer of the two today?
Well, this heat started at 10 a.m., so it's gone 11 hours.
Actually, yeah. Yeah, so I think that means they're about the same then. Yeah, that's a lot of time to be sitting down grinding through GEMP games.
I
Texas Mini
thankfully
World.
bought myself a new computer chair yesterday in preparation for having to sit in it for all weekend. My old chair was in bad shape, and I think I'm ready. It's held up for me well today.
It's good. You got it accustomed to your cheeks throughout the course of the day today?
They're melted in. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't think you can hear on the chat, but apparently Scott has installed a ceiling computer so he can lay down and play all at once. How times have changed. Yeah, so we're at 11 and 12 hours between these heats. So sometime between like 11 p.m. and midnight tomorrow, I anticipate my brain will have turned into complete mush.
So big battle taking place at the Endor Forest. We've got the Patrol, Mara, and Corporal Oberk squaring off against Leia. When all is said and done, we've got power 20 to power 6. And Matt's peeling, so that's going to be game. So Sam wins. I think that puts both players at 3 and 3, so neither of them will advance to tomorrow.
It does. Sam plays spoiler there and keeps Matt out of the 4 and 2 bracket.
And when I say tomorrow, I'm referring to day 2, which isn't actually tomorrow.
Which is a week from today. You can tune in on this channel to find games tomorrow. The heat start at 7 a.m. The second heat starts tomorrow at 1 p.m. And I don't know the start time off the top of my head, but there will be streams next Saturday for the final 4 games leading to the top 8 cut for Sunday of next week, which will be the top 8 match play championship for the 25th World Championship.
And I'll just drop a link. I know we have a lot of newcomers or returning faces to the game. So here's a link in chat that'll take you to our forum coverage. So if you have any questions about who's in what heat, if you were looking for updates, those are available there, and also just general things happening with the 2020 World Championship, as well as the Star Wars PC forums as a whole. So if you're unfamiliar with that, go check it out. Thanks for tuning in tonight.
Yes, it was a pleasure. Greg, enjoyed it. Scott, thank you for all of your work to get this up and running and for dealing with all the technical difficulties. He could have fixed all of our problems. Scott, your hair looks good, man. You should keep growing it out. Your hair looks good.
Hi, Sam. Thanks for the subscription. And yes, I believe you were. Maybe you weren't the last game. You were. I think the last game where we could have had somebody qualify or not qualify. So you were the last one that we were covering. Are there any more games going on?
So there's a game with very few life force left, Scott. They somehow still can't hear you.
Yeah, we've. This is the last game of Heat 2. Looks like both players were complaining about some lag in the chat.
So, question in the chat about QMC. QMC didn't specifically get a bump, but there was an errata shortly before the most recent virtual set. And one of the things that happened in that errata is both weapons display and firepower shields were blanked. And the firepower shield said that if your opponent moved from a location during your turn, they had to lose 2 force. So that was kind of a check against QMC with things like Path of Least Resistance or even Arcona or things like that that the deck has played in the past. I have not seen any. I will say I registered 0 Arcona in my deck for tomorrow. Well, I'm not going to let you know about anything else, just to say there's 0 Arcona, Scott. It's funny, too, the people listening are hearing us having a one-way discussion. I think that's Mike Gem in there saying it was a bad decision. I will say I don't know that the changes were necessary. I'm not on playtesting, but it seems like those were announced late in the game for playtesting this set. So it's like hard to know how those changes will affect what's really going on with everything new. I'm not surprised to see multiple players today busting out QMC. I think there was an argument to be made for like mirroring those shields in a way so that it wasn't so punitive about excluding characters, but or like blank the retrieval. There's things that could have been done. I don't know that I would have fully supported just totally blanking.
Yeah, I think one thing that has made it seem like not such a huge change is the prevalence of a lot of React cancelers just naturally being in the meta right now. So for things like Arcona, obviously, pathing away isn't a React, but for things that are kind of abusive like Arconas, dodge, those are kind of naturally accounted for with where the meta is right now, with people playing, some decks playing Git combo, a lot of decks playing at least one copy of Lana or Odin combo, sometimes multiples.
Yeah, it makes you not want to live in a world where you're really relying on things. I also saw a lot of Vader's anger and blast door controls today. So like light side evasion isn't necessarily in the best place, and they're still coming through.
Yeah. So I think you just hit on, combined with React cancelers, we just canceled everything that light side could potentially throw out there.
Some of that is a shift naturally because firepower is gone. And then some of that is also that like Git combo and first aid combo, or sorry, Lana combo are just good anyways. And then they like ancillarily have that benefit.
Yep.
Oh yes, Guy K. For those that weren't on stream earlier, there was a question if Greg or I mispronounced Gick, and neither of us had said it anything differently, but it was heard as Guy K. So heretofore, it shall be known as Guy K. At least amongst those
Alan
on
John,
Team 7000.
Alan John, I tried to do that a number of times today and wasn't going to mention it, but since you brought it up, yeah, I'm very guilty of that.
Oh, I did it too. Even with the second GIMP window open that had the game, I was clicking on the wrong thing. So yeah, it's even more annoying. I don't know if any of you guys play Magic, but Magic Arena like does allow you to do that, and so you get used to doing it. Which when you see that on a Twitch stream, it's kind of amazing that you can actually interact with the cards. It's amazing to me, at least. I'm a simple man.
Yeah, that is pretty sweet. Now, if this was somebody observing an open game on GIMP under normal circumstances, they would be able to do that too. But I think for all these games, we've closed off observers just to try to, one, decrease the amount of scouting, but two, also, I think primarily reduce the load on the servers of just having a number of people infiltrating all these games at all hours of the day.
It sounds like there was substantial lag today, just based on feedback that I've seen, which is too bad. My experience at Texas Mini Worlds on the first day was very negative because of lag. So I'm very hopeful that tomorrow will not be the same, but based on today, I'm pessimistic. So Scott, no one could hear him, but just said they think that potentially the script that was run to check decks may have helped slow things down. So they think that resetting it may have helped, and they're trying to figure out what to do moving forward. So at least the good news is everybody who has any kind of influence on it is aware that the lag is an issue. It's just it's not necessarily they can pinpoint what's causing the lag. So hopefully you can figure it out and fix it. And nobody wants us to suffer through it. I can just say as a player, it's not optimal. Yeah, John, that question's above my pay grade too. Yeah, so Sam is commenting about something that I think could end up being like a potential real issue for the tournament, depending on what's happening, in that players are losing substantial time on their clock in times when they don't even have options to do things. And depending on whose turn that is, that can be like a real impact on the outcome of the game.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned that there was one issue of somebody timing out today, and who knows whether or not like had any impact on that. But certainly tomorrow, we don't want to have any games where somebody times out because they were prevented from making decisions.
Again, I hope no one takes this as being like actively critical, because we know people are working on it. It's more just voicing that, hey, everyone who experiences this lag understands that it's frustrating. Hopefully, I will say, at least since Texas Mini Worlds, in that first day, it seems like in general the lag has been better. Today was probably the biggest server load we've seen. I can tell you, when both heats were going, it was kind of amazing to see how many active games were going, plus whatever other games were being played. It did kind of do my heart some good to see, like, wow, there are so many people playing the game. Scott, no one can hear you. Type in the chat. Oh, Taco just mentioned 69 people. I think I saw north of 75 people at one point. So since the time that I've been watching Star Wars or ever streamed, it was kind of amazing to see, like, this is triple the amount of people normally watching.
Yeah, it's been pretty great. And then just to see people, if you are out there in chat and you've kind of wandered over to this stream, somehow you're not an active player, but you somehow got word that this tournament was happening this weekend and you found the stream. We love hearing that in the chat because it gives us an opportunity to, talk about other things that are going on or talk about GEMP or ways that you can get back into the game. So very cool that everybody's here hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. Okay, so
I think so. That's it for the day. Just to recap from the second heat, your first place player, Joe Olson, went undefeated at 6-0. Congratulations to Joe. Always a solid player. 5-1, Justin Desai, two-time world champion. Not much else needs to be said. And then you have a bunch of strong players at 4-2. So I have no way of knowing the ordering of these people, but Chris Werfs, 4-2, JJD, 4-2, Justin Miyashiro, Jack Tech, 4-2, Connor Britton, Stubley, 4-2, Charlie Arlinson, member of our team, Golden God, 4-2, Gavin. This is through Taco Bill sending me the standings. Gavino 4-2, and then Brad Kipple 4-2. Off of one of the top finish in Road to Worlds is Brad Kipple, making it into next week, or one of the top.
Yeah, congrats to everybody. Congrats to everybody who qualified. Exciting stuff.
Yes, thank you to everyone.
Jerry giving a shout out to Charlie's game. Apparently, it was streamed by Queso with Mishki, also providing commentary. And Queso, that will be my next stop as I make some dinner tonight. Thanks for the link.
Yeah, it's 9:30. It's about time for me to get dinner here. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Scott. Thanks again for all